Just challenge me when you're good to go. Oh yeah, I meant to open OBS so I can see what's going on. I forgot that was an option. Ryan, how's it going? I guess that means we're live, Jack. Milky, how's it going? All right. Whoops. Someone's breathing very heavily into the mic. Could be me. I breathe heavily quite naturally. You can't hear Jack. Jack, can you change volume?
Hello, hello, hello. Okay. People hear me now? People should be able to hear me now. Let me know if people can hear me now.
You are fixed.
Working, sweet.
Oh, dearie me.
Yeah, I tried Toxtricity last week and lost because I flipped, I think it was 4 tails in a row, so I will have to play it again at some point today, assuming that we get to that point, but yeah, I have tried it. It's fun. It's not Cincino Mill, but it works. Crave some Jack being optimistic and Joe angry about the state of the format. Maximum hearing. Marnie, okay.
If we're going to win, it's going to be because this Marnie is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. So, that's that.
Something happened. Oh, 200 bits from Lewis Roach. Thanks so much.
Cheers, Lurish.
Really appreciate it. actually doesn't change that much. Let's just
Yeah, good game.
Okay, let me do this. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Paul, who lent me the Center Scorches. And they were not needed for very long, but they were very necessary.
They did their job.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So for anyone watching this on YouTube, this is the second part of a stream. And the player on the bottom right, player on the bottom right is the current turn. I'm switching between so you can see both players' perspectives. But yeah, the player on the bottom right is that current player's turn. So you're aware. Oh, this is going to be boring.
You're so boring.
It's going to be hella boring. Where's Jack?
Oh no.
When's Jack's super secret spice coming out? It's probably not. Okay. Oh, I didn't flip again. Not that I'm doing anything interesting. Have you made or will we make a tier list?
Tier list is all the rage at the moment.
Yeah, there's a video we could do.
Celos has done a tier list maker, so may as well take advantage of that.
I can't say you'll find much
deviation from the norm.
Deviation from anything else, because This format is pretty 1D, but we could do a tier list of the trash decks. Which ones should you play? If you don't want to play one of the top 3 decks. 2 gifted subs for myself if we get the spice out next game, Mr. Old. No, I'm not going to subject people to the spice. It's actually trash. Like, unironically, just awful. Okay. Take this, then take that, and take that. Or do we just Intrepid Sword? That's basically oh, your hand's so big anyway. Okay. Rogue tier list. Saying good deck. Boring deck. Hey, little Frizz with the sub. Thanks so much for the support.
Imagine subbing in this matchup. I want more of this.
Wow.
More of this, please.
460, 400, 340. Okay, so this is actually irrelevant.
Oh, that's a great play.
No music today. This is probably going on the YouTube, and whilst I'd probably use copyright-free music, I'd rather not risk it. Imagine choosing to play this matchup over having fun with the spice. I mean, the spice probably still doesn't beat this, so you know, it's. I've unironically actually had to play this mirror like 3 or 4 times over the past few days. And I haven't had to play any games with Charizard. So, okay. All the videos, keep up the insightful deck lists and analysis. Thank you so much, Lil Frizz. Appreciate it. Okay. Oh, I forgot to switch again. You saw exactly what I did there, chat. I gusted and I hit. Fine. Fine. Doesn't actually change anything to... Oh, it does. It does. It really does change stuff. So I probably should...
Held it.
Heavy breathing silence and metal box mirrors. That's the content I'm subbed for. It's such a annoyingly boring mirror.
We got one. That's one down. Third of the way there, boys. Don't get too excited. Still exceptionally boring. Oh,
cards.
Oh, you're so lucky.
So lucky. 200. Guess I should do this. Guess I should put my goggles on.
That's an insane turn. Absolutely insane turn. Even the goggles to boot.
Even the goggles. I did have 4 left, to be fair.
I know, but
still.
saying it's a big. I mean, you don't
Big
dig
swing.
far, do you?
Yeah, it's a big swing. Potentially. Do this, and probably lose to that. Do that, and get stranded, and lose that. Just use it as a switch effect.
Switch effects are good.
Healing 120 doesn't matter in this matchup. I say that. It actually does against heavy impact, to be fair. Madara 2397, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Joe, did you add a tool scrapper? Yeah, he played a scrapper earlier on. Got rid of some balloons and some goggles. Oops. I've lost my game. There it is. What did you take? You took a boss.
Took a boss. So you KO that one, we KO this one, so that doesn't matter. So you took the boss. You haven't played a boss yet. What the? You manied the boss.
Yeah, I manied the boss. I'm just thinking whether you have another one in hand, but you haven't played any yet, so probably. Very good. Very gross. I don't know whether you play 3 or 4. Probably 3. Let's say 3 and pray. 3 and a Sinland makes sense. Plays double Sinland. Okay, yeah, definitely plays 3. Definitely doesn't play 4. There's no way you can play 4. 1 switch left. There's the boss. Gross. You both look so excited.
These are exciting times.
Thrilling times. Took the boss. Took the boss. Okay. Okay. Aha. I feel like no matter who wins here, neither of us are winners.
Wait.
Okay, how's the boss? Just having to flip back very quickly because it's basically single action turns. Nothing more exciting than a Luca metalization mirror, right? Thrilling times GX.
Hold on.
Won the snore fest.
Just one nutty turn was enough to completely throw it off.
Yeah.
Also played both my Sinlins because I had no other plays. That's rough.
Okay. Let me check this is what I think it is. Yeah, okay. I don't know how on earth heavy Luca metal is that, so let's do this. Titus Weaver flipped 4 heads on super scoop ups against me. It was crazy. That's gross. Super scoop ups? Huh? Expanded. Oh wait, this is not a list that wants to go first. That's a shame. Oh well. Oh wait, we kind of do. Okay, it's fine. Sure, we wanted to go first.
Brill.
Ignore the Volcanian in the active. This was all planned. Cotton game. There we go. How much of this hand can I play down? Play this, play that, attach. Yeah, okay. This hits, it's good. If it doesn't hit, it's fine. If it hits that, it's bad. Or we can just draw one less card. I think I'm ever... Yeah. Oh, that might have been wrong. I don't know, but... Draw 2. Retreat. An extra 1. Need to find 1 next turn. Okay. Super scoop ups for pre-rotation. Let's see. Oh, the scoop up Darkrai Prism build. Oh, Williams, I haven't missed you. That's not very nice. 150, 200, okay. Oh, that's not what you do, chat. You meant to take all 3 energy so you can kill the Luca Metal rather than just doing 100 to it. Okay.
Doesn't kill.
It would have, right? 3 energy.
Oh, you're going to GX?
I was going to GX it, but now I'm not.
Well, you know.
Imagine throwing.
Still an auto win, so I don't think it's a problem. Undo button. Can you imagine?
Please. There's a lot of features PTCGO needs.
Back we go.
Can we find another switch?
Can we find the 3rd switch?
We have fun. Why is this match so intense?
Oh, grow up. Sorry, were you saying something? Oh, come on! This deck is booed! Ooh. Clever.
Switch to Dene, hit switch, never punished. Immediately after, never lucky.
Where my bronzes? Well, you know. Sorry, mate. Where are your bronzes?
Hey, Ben. There used to be an undo button, actually. I'd be frequenting that button.
I hate to be that guy, but where are your bronzes?
I just altered creation 41 times.
I hope chat can see my side, because this is a stitch up.
They can.
You know those energies? Those 2 that I saw at the start of the game? Yeah, they're the only ones I've seen.
Oh, that's...
Won't be seeing any more of them. Oh, hold on. Boss that one, I guess.
Come here.
Ooh. Top deck energy. Give me a chance to win this game. Oh, for fuck's sake, man.
St. Tropius, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome.
Another great game.
it's not switching back to my screen. Hold on. Aha, okay. Right. Whoever wins best of 9 faces secret surprise boss Tord, right? No. No. I heard something.
It's a sub.
Oh.
It's a gifted sub from Jamtalk.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jamtalk.
Appreciate it. I didn't see who got the sub, but whoever you are, welcome. Enjoy the sub.
Starmie's a Pokemon. Well, Starmie is a Pokemon. That makes much more sense.
I guess this guy.
I feel like this isn't going to be a sprint to 9 wins so much as a crawl from either side.
Yeah. What do I take? Probably this.
Oh, thank God it doesn't have resistance. That would have been broken.
I am playing Big Charms. She's playing Azation right now. This classic deck. It's one of your favourites, Williams, I know. He's drawing cards. Oh, what an idiot.
Once again, I need energy cards. I'm once again asking, where are they? More than 2? Oh no, the coin flips begin. Where are my swells? You're going to mill both swell in your first mill. I can see it now.
Both swell first mill.
I can see it now.
Absolute risk taker.
Oh, this again. Oh, this again. Stitch up. It was a stitch up.
Imagine owning Eternator so I could actually play real. What did I discard there? 2 Zations, brilliant.
2 Zations. You Jack, you fool. You're meant to do my deck. You've got rid of both rods and a lot of toxicities as well.
Yeah. Get some of the energy I've prized as well.
Oh no. Jack. Well, at least you can cue this into Mad Party afterwards. That's the good news.
Rabbi, I actually dare you to play this in Hegster tonight. I actually dare you.
When does Hegster start?
11.
Oh wow, that's late. He's playing?
I actually dare you to play this in Hegster tonight.
I'll stay up. Jack's dangerously close to milling himself. I calculated the risk, but I'm bad at math. An hour and 10. Thank you, chat. Oh, so it's 11:30. Or is that when the stream starts?
I think that's when round 1 goes up.
Oh, right, okay.
Or like check-in ends or something. Hegster stream? No, definitely not.
Oh, you have the answer to swell. You genius. That's deck building for you. So I'm just laughing at Williams. Obviously.
So my first mill. What was my first mill?
Top double super rod energy,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it was exactly that. It was, yeah, that's a joke.
Yes, I agree.
I actually can't win now because I've prized 3 twin.
Oh.
So I can only attack twice.
Yes. Agree. Alright, it's all on you, Mad Party. How many chances do I have to win? 3 chances?
Yeah.
3 chances. One's an auto loss, so 2 chances.
One's an auto loss?
One's an auto loss, yes.
You not see my flips there?
Yes, you are yet to hit heads with that deck. That's true enough.
What are my 3 decks? This, and... Right, well let's buff the stats by going with mill first.
Pad the stats, obviously.
Yeah, really close series. Could go either way. Go on, let me go first. Oh yes.
Ooh. Where's that ball search card? That's not it. Ooh. There it is. Tongues out.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you oh my god, I actually missed a Mad Party. That's such a stitch up. Alright. Give me some quick balls so I don't need to draw any more cards this game. 2, 4, 6. Do I value doing 80 damage the same as 6 cards hitting the discard pile? Or 6 cards deeper in the deck? Let's think about this. 2, 4, 6. I don't think I do.
Oh, that was terrible order, chat. Don't do what I do. Oh, I was punished. Look at this. Punished. Here we go.
Doesn't look like a
my
punish to me, Jack.
God.
Looks like you got everything you wanted. I'll be honest. You put Lost Marcher in, you fool. 2, 4, 6, 8.
I think it was 5. So some kind of quick wall or something. Linear research are kind of bad outs because they dig, but they would get the knockout. Rod, maybe shuffling the Mad Parties back in. No.
You absolute bog roll. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Oh, the Denene is coming down.
All right. Party.
Can I win in 6 turns?
It's not the tightest of clocks. No stadium removal. No. No, nothing really. I'm just going to announce an attack every turn. I don't see where the punish was in all this, Jack. I'll be honest. Never bench a Toxel here. Please. Ooh, you love to see it. Look. Those weren't items. So unlucky. Those were also not items. So unlucky. Nothing but partiers in there, Jack. Rodding before the Stellar Wish. You madman, I'm in. Ah, that makes sense.
Imagine quick wall existing.
Ugh.
What the hell?
Oh no!
Maybe this was wrong. Should have fed you there. Oh, I should have instead.
It's not like I'm going to reverse deck you out, let's be honest.
Yeah, true.
The reverse deck out. Ooh. Oh, Jack, another shove it. Really? Okay. How bad is a shove it? Bad enough, I guess. Still have this, and I still have the thing that gets me one of these. But that's it. I think Joe should detonate in this spot. Not the rod. No!
You definitely play more than one.
That's two.
Oh, there's two in there.
I played one, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
Rodney! Damn. Another Toxel. You frog! Oh! It's on a knife edge. The tension is palpable. I'm going to announce an attack.
This transitioning thing is far more effort than it's worth when all we're doing is passing and announcing. Well, auto win. Hee hee.
Damn. That's a mess. What are your other decks?
Vicar Vault.
Oh, yeah?
And either Sableye or that Charizard mess. Which both would have been pretty... Actually, Sableye would have been okay.
Oh, that Sunflorazard.
Yeah, that was never coming out. Sableye might have actually been okay, though, because it's playing a 4-3 Wheezing.
You booed.
Hee hee.
Well,
Hee hee.
what should we do for the rest of the night? Do you want to do a tier list?
Yeah, Eternatus. I can't afford Eternatus, don't be silly.
Until September the 4th.
Till September the 4th. And then I...
Do you want me to get it on my screen, or are you happy to do it on your... do you know where to get it from?
You can do it. I can switch
Oh, right.
to... That's closer than I expected. That was closer than I expected, to be honest.
I mean, you missed botanics. So,
so
right, so this is Celio's one. So I want to create my tier list. Okay, so I didn't realize this would happen, but it's like a half-saved one that I thought about making earlier for content reasons.
Connor's going to shout at me because these aren't in line, but...
So can you see, this was my initial list. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
So I had, rather than letters or numbers, I wanted to give some better distinction on them.
Yeah.
Obviously this isn't all set in stone or whatever, but this was like something that I did while I watched Celio's video. So, most effective tactic available, meta decks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice.
That's what meta stands for, chat, if you never knew that. Most effective tactic available.
Genius.
These two decks are the most effective tactics available, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because stats are ridiculous and ADP is ridiculous. They both have very good numbers behind them. ADP is, in my opinion, the most consistent deck in the format for the early game. So you can win games just because other decks are whiffing more than you, more often than not. If both decks are working well, like if ADP is running okay and the other deck is running okay, ADP has to high roll more because they need to weave in boss more often, which is the only downside to the deck. Whereas Zacian is so like fragile that most things just detonate it without the need for boss, so they can just do their other stuff. But I think ADP is still the most consistent at getting its plan A off, so it gets wins just based on that. And then when everything else is working for both sides, it can still win any matchup, I think, realistically. And Eternatus has the best plan A in the game. So that's pretty much why I put them at the highest.
Mm-hmm.
So then less consistent, but still with very strong strategies would be these decks. 3 of them are welder-based decks, so that already has some RNG element to it. And then Inteleon is well placed because it's amongst a shed load of welder decks. It's also decent against Eternatus and ADP if it sets up, but it needs 2 stage 1s and buckets by turn 2. Otherwise, you're very, very sad. So Inteleon definitely, probably Blounds is the least consistent of those 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then Inteleon, then Mewtwo and Senti are basically the same on consistency. Mewtwo's much more flexible than Centiskorch, so its matchup spread is wider, and Centiskorch is quite like tunnel visioned into what it can and can't do. For example, you basically always lose Inteleon, and you have a much better ADP matchup than the Mewtwo deck does, in my opinion, and a much worse Eternatus. Mewtwo is more towards the 50-50s in all of those ranges, I would say. Senti has bigger L's and bigger dubs.
Makes sense.
Blounds I'm putting here just out of respect that it's probably the best one prize deck in the format, and it's had some online success still. So I'm still respecting it enough. And I also kind of want to put Luke Metal up here as well. So I've kind of got Blounds here as a meta, like as a great meta placement.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's good against Eternatus, Senti, Mewtwo. I think it's definitely good against all of those, even now when it's even more Lego than it used to be. I've seen a lot of Eternatus playing Piers and not Marnie, which is super good for Blounds. A lot of Centiskorch don't play Hand Disruption. Mewtwo's just playing the 2 stamps, which you can always deal with because it's later on in the game than just Marnie's. So really good against those 3 prize attacking decks. Its ADP matchup obviously got way worse without Flint because you can just lose a race these days. Its Inteleon is quite bad as well because you're still reliant on Jirachi and they die very easily. But Inteleon also doesn't play that much Hand Disruption. So the lack of Hand Disruption in the format makes Blounds still quite good, I feel. But it depends how Eternatus develops, because we've seen so much. Like, the reason Eternatus has to be as high as we put it is because we've seen so much variety in lists, and they're all winning because its plan A is just so good that it doesn't matter how you're actually getting to that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're Marnieing or piercing or drilling, stamping, those sorts of things. So I don't know. Blounds could probably be lower, and Luke Metalization could be higher. Obviously, Luke Metalization won the Players' Cup, but Bronzong is a 1 tournament deal. Now that the secret's out of the bag, Fire decks auto win it, which make it much less appealing than it was for the Players' Cup. So that's why I have it with weak meta placement, because I think the Welder decks now just body you. So yeah, that sort of next tier is weaker strategy with good meta placement, or a strong strategy with a weak meta placement. So Luke Metal, very strong strategy because it's a good strategy against the 2 best decks in the format. Good enough to be at least even. Probably favored with double Zamazenta. But then all of the tier 2 stuff, you're a little... I mean, not Inteleon. You kind of auto Inteleon as well, but you're bad against Welder, which is like the rest of the good decks. I don't know what you think about any of the stuff so far, if you would place anything anywhere else. Because these are the most important discussion points, really, the top decks.
Yeah, I think...
I mean, I haven't seen enough Blounds to know that it sucks, and I've played a bit of Blounds and think that it sucks, but I've also seen it winning games. and in theory, it's still very, very strong.
I mean, Blounds just feels way more Feast or Famine than it used to. That's literally it. I think it loses the games, it loses harder and wins the game, but it still wins the games. It wins as hard as ever, even without Flint.
Yeah, I want to see it more like the mash that Robin Schultz played to a regionals top 8, where he was basically playing Welder Box, but with a Blound, or like with 1 or 2 Blounds and Crystals. I basically want to see that return where we know Heatran's like crazy in this format. We know Volk's very good, so I want to try just like Volk Heatran that then plays like 2 Blounds and 4 Crystals, and just like weaves in a Fireball Circus once a game, and it's game winning. That's kind of like what I want to do now. That's where I'm at with Blounds, rather than Stellar Wish, Stellar Wish, Stellar Wish, Stellar Wish, Stellar Wish, Intrepid Sword pass, and then just hope you don't get Marnied, which just like sucks now.
Yeah.
So I think that form, like basically the Heatran that you can see here, I kind of want to mash with the Blacephalon and make that mash like a pretty decent archetype where it's mostly 1 and 2 prize fire stuff.
Yeah, I might try building that. I think Inteleon actually has a game plan against so many decks that it's, like you say, it's got to be at least there, but still.
It's just I can't see like even with Inteleon's presence, I don't see the fire decks not being played because
no,
it won't be that popular.
I don't think so.
Viral.
Luca Metal is the same as it's always been. On paper, it's absolutely nuts because you deny knockouts and you energy deny and this, that, and the other. But the format's so fast, you actually have to hit so much to be able to deny people these days. Like the only reason it took us 25 minutes to finish a game is because we were both playing it. Like that's literally it. Otherwise, like a lot of the time, games are still over on turn 4, either because you've discarded enough energy so that they can't ADP, so you can just run through them, or they've been able to ADP and they can pick off your accusations fairly easily.
So if we're both agreeing that Bronzong is like out of the deck now, what do you put in those sorts of spaces? Do you just add more consistency, or do you just go crushings and like?
So I changed my list today. I put in 4 crushing.
Yeah.
What else did I put in? I put in 4 crushing and like just upped. Like I went to 3 tag call because at that point I was only playing 8 Pokemon, so I just went to 3 tag call because like outside of Quick Ball there is no good search options for the deck. Because you can't Great Ball. There's nowhere near enough live targets. You can't Calm. There's nowhere near enough live targets. So I went 3rd tag call. I think I put in because I was playing like a 6-card package. So I think I went 3rd tag call, 4 Crushing Hammer, and 4th Switch maybe, just to try and streamline, or maybe like 2nd Balloon or something. I don't know, just something. Basically saying once I've Full Metal Walled, I want to Brave Blade every single turn of the game.
Yes.
And yeah, that's
because
and it seems fine, but only fine because sometimes, like against the turns and stuff, you can just literally sit and wall sometimes. Especially with the hammers, you can probably slow them down enough to maybe even be able to just wall with 2 Zamazenta. But that's nowhere near like a foregone conclusion because most lists are playing 1 Sableye minimum now, and people are preparing for Zamazenta, so yes, double Zamazenta is pretty strong, and if you like start double Zamazenta, basically you're pretty much locked in because you can always kill the Sableye eventually. But you have to start like exactly double Zamazenta, otherwise things are looking pretty rough, I think.
You can start anything as long as you can find Zamas.
I guess if you can find double Zamazenta, yeah, it's still fine. But yeah, all of the fire decks, like you say, are a complete write-off, basically.
Yeah, and Bronzong just doesn't make sense anymore because we know like we will respect it for at least a few weeks or months, right?
Bronzong was literally perfect for the Players' Cup because it was closed deck list and it was such a small field that a tech like that would genuinely win an insane percentage of matchups if you hit them. But in an open field, like already you see people playing random colorless Pokemon before Bronzong was even a thing, random Cramorants, random doubles.
Even a decent card in Center Scorch, to be fair. It's like an alternate win condition.
Yeah, so
like missing boss.
Like you say, the Bronzong definitely gets way worse in an open field. It still like can scam games, of course, if people don't respect it. But I think people are just respecting it way more to the point where it's not worth, because you have to play. It's not just like a one-run Bronzong. It's a six card inclusion because you need at least double com. They were playing 4 com in their list, so you could even say it's like a 12 card an 8 card inclusion, and that's a pretty big proportion of your deck. Even though it hits 3 matchups, it's a pretty big proportion of your deck to be like, well, if they just play any non-fire attacker, then this is 8 dead cards.
Yeah, and there's the argument that like you beta Bronzong, then Brave Blade through Cramorant, and then make the second Bronzong, but it's always gonna like then you need to play 3/3 Bronzong and then like double bench a Bronzor on the turn that you do a kill, and you don't draw well enough to make that play ever. So
like you say, Cramorant is just a good card. I think I'd be playing Cramorant almost always anyway. I actually didn't play Cramorant in tonight's list, in all fairness, but
my initial list didn't play it, but it's like a 60. It's within that sort of like 63 card range that you'd think about playing it, right?
Yeah.
Already, and now you just say, well, I have to now, but it doesn't feel that bad because it can still just win in other games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Desi and Obstagoon. What do you think is stronger out of Desi and Goon? I've made the statement that I think Decidueye is better, but I also like respect Fire so much that it's kind of a moot point. The main reason I've got the Desi higher is that ADP can get lazy and lose, and Eternatus is genuinely unfavored, I think. Whereas Obstagoon is fairly favored against ADP, but terrible against Eternatus. So that's the only reason why I had Decidueye a little bit further, but they're both kind of like, right.
Yeah, I think I'd lump all 3 pretty much together like you have. I haven't actually seen any pure Obstagoons, which is interesting. I've seen one Mash, and I've only ever played against it once, and I've been playing a lot of Pokemon, and I've still only ever played against it once, but the game I played against it, you felt that you were running 2 stage 2s, and you can't run 1 stage 2 in this format, I feel, a lot of the time. So the way it looked, it was just bricky as hell, but again, it was only 1 game. I can see the bases that they cover, but I just can't. I don't know. It feels like the win con that you create is probably more secure, but you need to do way more work to do it because you need to get the right stage 2 out and that kind of thing, which is fine sometimes, but also like I don't know. Like you say, the ADPs can struggle, but obviously Eternatus, it feels fairly favored for. I just think all 3 of them are very, very heavily meta dependent, and
it's a pick a tournament type archetype, and you have to be completely on it and hit the right people.
And in today's meta, when we have so many online tournaments as well right now, I think these decks kind of can't work because there's so much accessibility to online tournaments. People are taking way more risks in what they play because it's like, oh well, I've just wasted 6 hours and like two packs entry rather than having to go for a weekend, pay $35 to get into a tournament, spend the whole weekend. I'll play something I know like Eternatus. Well, people will just turn up with, I don't know, Firebox with a 2/2, like Ninetales that can just run through your whole deck or whatever, and it's just kind of like, I feel like you're just wasting your time with those kinds of decks in this kind of.
Yeah, I mean, basically, long and short of it, you'll probably never win a tournament with those 3 decks.
No,
you won't win a tournament. You can probably make cut with one of those, but you'll be put to the sword eventually, right? At some point, because you'll brick and you'll find people that care about beating you or just naturally have answers. And like you said, the format's kind of like, in online formats, there could be like 10 different decks on this list that could turn up. But even if it was just regular tournaments, like there are 6 or 7 like very respectable decks in this format, I think. and you can't really just target all of them with the combo of these. Vikavolt I want to put here because its strategy is strong, but I have no idea the right strategy. So I don't like, the thing is, the way I've put the tier list is that it's not a high roll deck, so it can't go low like here. And I also don't think it's quite a meme because there's still strength behind its approach. But I mean, I've weaved in so many games of Vikavolt at this point. I've tried Lycanroc GX Devo Spray. I've tried Amoonguss Sleep. I've tried Yellhorn Poison Toxicroak package. I've tried Clefable Scoop Up Net as well. I've tried so many different ways. I've tried Cincino playing like thick Yellgrunt Surge. And I'm just like, give me something here, because I'm doing so much work just to hit 50. And some of these best decks are like so low maintenance that they just like make one dude and it beats you.
Yeah, I think
it makes me feel very bad.
I think Vikavolt is. I wouldn't even be far off putting it in meme tier at all myself personally, but I think it, like you say, it probably just about has enough credit to be able to not be in meme tier, and item lock. In the perfect storm, item lock can just win games. So
let's put it to the back, I guess.
Yeah, it's without a doubt the deck that feels the pain the most, other than like Picrom, I guess, whatever. But it's the deck that feels rotation the most, and I think it shows. It's another deck that I actually haven't seen in. I mean, I feel like all I've seen is basically the top 2 decks in the past 3 days, and I've played like probably close to 150 games of Pokemon over the past 2 days.
Yeah.
So I haven't, I think that also kind of, like you say, cements itself into this kind of not in the top 2 tiers. So therefore, kind of doesn't matter where it goes, but also is better than the rest.
Like if Eternatus and ADP are both 10% of the field, which I think is like pretty comfortable that we can expect that, Vikavolt can't ever be great, can it?
Nope.
Okay. Draga's a weird one. I think Center Scorch is not seeing like a huge amount of play, but Eternatus is. And those are the 2 things that made me think Draga was bad. You're okay against ADP. You like to see Mewtwo. Like there's been a small resurgence in Mewtwo in online tournaments, and you like to see that.
If Mewtwo keeps gaining popularity, I think Dragapult is actually one of the best meta calls for the meta, because you have Mewtwo, you have Blounds, which is fairly favourable. Like you say, they're still relying on Jirachis, and whilst they can still blow you up, without Flint, it's kind of in the same position as they were with ADP. And Dragapult can also take 2 prizes a turn against you fairly comfortably. Inteleon, I kind of lump Inteleon and Draga similarly, but I think Inteleon has the reliance of having to have the Moth on the bench, whereas Dragapult is just Dragapult. But
Inteleon, because of Snom, that makes Draga super favored.
Yeah. I've lost my train of thought. So basically, what I was saying, because of the reliance on Inteleon having a second Pokemon, even though it does more damage and can actually 2-shot Dragas, whereas Draga can't 2-shot Inteleon. Once you eventually get through that first Inteleon, as long as you've been bench managing well, they won't have another Inteleon set up, and just doing 60 and putting an energy back into the hand a turn isn't enough when Dragapult is still churning out 180 every turn, which, in comparison to things like Eternatus and ADP is trash, but in very specific metas, I think it's fine. It's just, it's another, it's probably the first deck we've actually seen that's just literally a dodge and weave deck.
Yeah, it reminds me of Mega Guardi when Greenzard was a deck, and you literally just like, you both flip over your starting Pokemon and you literally pack up for lunch if they're playing Greenzard. When you were playing Green's Guardian or whatever it was. Did I say Mega Guardi? I meant Guardian.
Mega Guardi. I was confused.
When Guardian queued into Reshizard. It basically feels like that. You literally just early lunch it, which sucks, and you probably shouldn't play a deck that does that. So you have to like somehow find a way. Like I saw Katron tried to play again Lycanroc GX and like Auroras to try and make the matchup closer, but I genuinely don't think you can get enough discards of energy to win in time. So like either they've just attached active every turn and you've been able to Lycanroc like 3 times and then GX.
Yeah.
But I think that's never happening. So yeah. And then Mad Party sucks against it. Like, you don't enjoy Inteleon. Like, you can play Mew, so it's not like end of the world. But I think you're also like super afraid of ADP and Eternatus, just because of Scoop Up Net Zigzagoon, which has become standard. So the top, like, because you're gate kept by the top 2 decks.
You need to, yeah. I feel like Eternatus is always a write-off. ADP you can actually win against if you super high roll, but you need to high roll and they need to low roll basically. So
you need like between 80 and 100 turn 1, and then like also, so either you're killing a 1 prize Pokemon if they're playing Jirachi build, so you need to get 80 turn 1, or you need to get 90 turn 1. Well, 5 in the bin, right, because of resistance.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, no resistance. Yeah, so they need Bunnelby and 8, or you need to hit their ADP turn 1 and turn 2. So if they start as Zacian, you basically already lost as Mad Party. Or if they just navigate a Duraludon into the active or a Zacian into the active, you've lost already.
Yeah.
And then Eternatus basically has to whiff their Scoop Up Net turns to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And if they go second, you can get donked in a variety. Like, if they go first or second, you can get donked in a variety of raids with Hooper, Power Accelerator, Zigzagoon Nets. So yeah, that sucks. And if Mewtwo cared enough, it could also have a better matchup against you. Anyway, yeah. But it's a non-GX deck, so you can still beat some of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually has a consistency behind it, which is good. I thought it was way less consistent than it actually is, and it's actually quite consistent at getting its strat. It's just its strat is quite poor.
Yeah.
All right, then we've got some high roll stuff. Sableye, like Arctozolt, Roxy, Flapple, just Zigzagoon, Nets, Wheezing, you know, any strategy, like add your strat here, but like it's all just Lego. Like, why would you play this V when you can play Zacian? Like, literally.
Yep.
Charizard is worse than Center Scorch.
Yep.
Salamence is worse than Center Scorch and Inteleon,
yep.
if you want to spread. Toxtricity is obviously Boots. Like, it's the best mill approach we have, right? Do you think it's better than Excadrill attempts, or do you think it's just like, what do you think about Excadrill stuff? From whatever I've seen of Excadrill right now, I've thought it's terrible.
I saw some pretty interesting Excadrills. I think they're just both so bad that it's basically incomparable. I guess Tox has the advantage of having that high roll potential, whereas Excadrill is kind of locked into its fairly slow.
Like, Mill was already quite weak against ADP, like regular Mill, I think, or at least was like average against ADP. But the space that Excadrill takes up, and the fact, like, it just takes longer for you to get towards like Hammer Time. You don't have Articuno to be like a fullback if you're going to hand control anymore.
I think it would have been. I think this format would have, or not this format would have been really interesting. I should reword that. I think Control decks would have been. It would have been interesting to see whether Control decks could stay up near the top of the tier list if we did still have Articuno. I think Articuno would be one of the only things I would want to see back. I mean, it lost a lot of different things, but I think Articuno actually could be very, very strong in this format. And
well, yeah, with Belelba ban, you had to handlock, and Articuno was like a linchpin of the handlock strat, right? You had to strand and remove the hand at the same time.
So I think actually, even though obviously Guru was the biggest loss for Control and Mill, but I think one of the biggest losses was Articuno that a lot of people glossed over because it was caught in the whirlwind of
at the same time.
Yeah, it was caught in the whirlwind of Belelba, and then things like Mars also getting banned. Like, actually, if you think about it, Eternatus lists really don't play that much acceleration right now. Turbo Patches pretty boot in the deck, and if they go first, they don't get the Power Accelerator and Extra Energy on. So, and Articuno would actually slow them down potentially 2 turns with more based on hammers and stuff. So, obviously, I think that alone is why Control is so bad, because not only did it lose so many different resources and you can't get into that kind of board state where you can swing back, but also the only the only energy disruption we have in format really outside of supporters is hammers, and hammers are flip based, so at best you're going to be 50-50 on them, kind of trying to disrupt people. And if you're only getting rid of one energy a turn, things like Eternatus and ADP actually don't care, because they don't have to get a shed load of stuff out. They just need to do enough to knock out an Excadrill or whatever, which is easy. They can basically forget about every other Pokemon in their deck. They don't need to worry about attaching to the bench or anything like that. So one energy a turn just isn't enough to deal with them.
Something that actually hurts as well is that ADP is usually playing Zamazenta now as well, which is like very bad for the control matchups, because it used to hope that like they had to either power up 2 ADPs or get into like Brave Blade and keep finding outs to go in and out, or they were just passing naturally anyway. So Zamazenta just like announcing an attacker turn is actually quite bad for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, we kind of didn't talk about Spiritomb, but its damage output is pants, right? For the most part.
It's. I've seen it.
Would you rather be playing Mad? Like, I'm basically saying I'd rather be playing Mad Party if I was playing a one prize deck. What do you think about that?
I think so. Yeah. There's so much Scoop Up Net and Ziggy in the format anyway that Spiritombs are basically never safe, even with capes on. Especially as Tool Scrapper is starting to creep back into the format as well.
Scrapper's a weird one, right? What would you? I am personally super anti slow cards in the game, just because it's so focused on the first 2 turns of the game.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I'm inclined to agree.
I think Luke Metal makes sense and Inteleon makes sense.
I play in Luke Metal. I haven't played Inteleon, but I can see why it makes sense in Inteleon. I can see why some people play it in Welder Mewtwo lists, and I don't hate it, but you still have to, like, it's still a Welder deck, so it's still kind of, you don't care about any of the cards in your deck that aren't Welder for the first 2 turns of the game, so why play anything that isn't a Welder, essentially? And similarly with ADP and Eternatus, you don't care about anything but attaching energy in these decks, and like you say, these are reactive cards. It's just a case of, you know, people will play it and they won't draw it in their first half of the deck. They'll draw it in the second half of the deck, and it'll work, and they'll remember the times where they were able to double Scrapper 2 capes and win the game, and they'll forget about the times where actually the Scrapper's been in the top half of the last 9 games and they've discarded it. So I think Scrapper is creeping more into decks, and then I can see why people justify it. I don't like it in Eternatus at all. In ADP, I get it, but me and you are so. I mean, we're basically down to 2-line ADP lists now, right? Because we just want to ADP on turn 2 every single game, and even then, I'd say we probably only hit it like 75-80% of the time, because you just draw trash anyway.
That's maximum, yeah. I would say it's closer to 60% range with the most basic list.
So I'm not a fan of it in ADP just personally, but I get why people play it. But yeah, I like it in Luca Metal. I guess it makes sense in Inteleon, and I don't hate it in Mewtwo either, because it's probably, because you're playing such a toolbox deck, there's only so much consistency you can add to a deck. So it's kind of a weird sentiment of being like, oh, there's only so much consistency I can add, so I won't add a consistency card. But with random one of attackers and things like that, you know, another one of probably actually isn't going to change the consistency of a deck all that much. You probably have to cut another one off to put it in, but yeah, I think like you say, Spiritomb is just, it's a lot weaker. If you want to play Spiritombs, I actually don't hate them in Eternatus if you want something other than things like Hooper or Sableye.
I would play Spiritomb in Eternatus if I cared about Decidueye.
Yeah,
I would play like 2 and then like 1 Hooper, maybe 1 of each Hooper if I was going super heavy on Pokemon count.
Yeah. There's actually a list from.
There's a lot of Spiritomb being played just to at least respect Decidueye, and I understand that because 4 Hoopers don't beat Decidueye. Yeah. So playing a mix kind of makes sense.
Scottish Mudkip, thanks for the follow. Yeah, there was actually a list in that tournament yesterday that played triple Spiritomb, which was like, it was okay, but
it's mostly just bench, man. It's basically
yeah, exactly. We watched 3 games and not like the player wasn't even building Spy, and that wasn't out of respect of Zigzagoon. That was out of I just need them on my bench.
Yeah.
So
they're more helpful than Hoopers against Zamazenta, and they're more helpful than Hoopers against Decidueye. So I can see why they're being played.
Yeah.
But Straight Tomb is. Do you think it's the same, like just less consistent than Mad Party? What do you think? Like,
I don't even know. Now, like...
So you basically need to play 4 Spikemuth, 4 Cape, like at least 2 Jinx, probably 3 Jinx, and they need to be on your board all the time.
It's one of those where I've only played one game against Straight Spiritomb, and we're saying how pants its damage output is, and it got 290 on an ADP turn 2. So it's like, yes, it can do that, but like me and my opponent both said to each other, like, you know, that was an absolute stinking high roll there.
Yeah, like you need to draw like what Spikemuth, Switch, Birdkeeper, Jinx.
You need
Jinx.
yeah, you need 9 counters on you.
Yeah, like that's not happening
by turn 2. So you, like you say, you need at least double Jinx, and you need to basically Birdkeeper and then retreat and then switch back in.
Yeah.
As well as building Spike both turns. So yeah, it's just not. It's not realistic, despite me being on the receiving end of.
And if you're playing Birdkeepers, you're drawing so few cards.
I know.
you need them for damage, but they also just make you like not hit your next Spiritomb, not hit your Jinx, not hit your Spikemuth if it gets bounced or if swells in the format.
Yeah, I feel like it's just, like you say, it's just a worse Mad Party overall.
Okay, that's fine. That's kind of what I thought, but I'm also kind of like, against the Eternatus, I kind of want to play Spiritomb more.
I was going to say, it feels like it's just, maybe not a worse Mad Party, it's just got a very different matchup spread.
Or maybe we put both of these like here, like this. Because you do need to high roll Mad Party and Spiritomb, to be fair.
Yeah, it feels like they're basically identical decks, just very different matchup spreads.
Okay.
And
is there anything meme that you want to move? The only thing I'm looking at is Torkoal having some validity because energy removal is good and it's got an upside of being a welder deck.
It's one that I'm basically happy either meme or high roll for now because I haven't tested it, but I do want to test it after watching Catron play it yesterday.
So was he playing it with hammers, or was he was playing it a welder box, right?
It was literally just welder box, but 2 Torkoal for dealing with ADP and yeah. In my mind, even though that sounds great, in my mind, it sounds that strategy is so slow that they probably have 3 energy on the board by the time the Torkoal is live anyway. He, like, in both games, he had to bench 2 Torkoals, attach to one, turbo patch to the other, so he was constantly threatening something. And if he wanted to weave a Vulcan at any point, that was an extra turn for the Eternatus to attach an energy. So it feels like it's another deck where I think it's probably better than meme. It's probably high roll can win games because a turn 1 attach into a turn 2 welder on the only energy on the board probably will just win you the game there because you can just do that every turn from that point. So you just need to find your boss every turn from that point.
So do we think it would naturally have like a weak ADP? Does it feel like it has a weak or an okay ADP?
Because it's a firebox deck, I can actually see it having an okay ADP because you can probably just also you have that line of play, but you probably also have just the fact that you can, if they bench a Zacian turn 1, you just forget about the ADP and just go after 6 prizes like Zacian, Dedenne Zacian, or whatever.
Was he playing Tails?
He's playing Ninetales, yeah. Oh no, he wasn't playing Gusting Ninetales. I think I'd want to, but I don't know where the space is because his list was tied.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of like here because it feels like just a new adaptation of Welder Box that's trying to, instead of like blow up something because Eternatus is too big to
control stuff.
You're just saying like, I've effectively killed you, but I'll just kill you in a few turns.
Yeah, even against things like Center Scorch and Mewtwo, the double energy discard might be enough to actually.
I think you'd have a poor Senti.
Maybe
a Heatran detonation at some point. Like maybe if you choose to go second, Volk Welder.
He was playing Capes and Heats though, so if you're discarding 2 energy a turn, it feels like you can.
Oh, okay, so he's full D.
Yeah, it feels like you can.
That's
probably
cool. Yeah.
Probably tear through 1 Senti and then try and, like you say, blow up another one. Also played Ninetales V, we saw, so that can also out of the blue kind of. What would it do? It would do 160, so you can. that's another like surprise one-of attacker that can do half to a Senti for 3
That's
energy.
pretty weird. Might be
I
good
can't-
against Inteleon VMAX though. I don't know what it was for, but it could be good against Inteleon to do 60 on something to actually. No, it sounds terrible. Feels like you're probably scooping Inteleon, right? Because they play Moth. But that's fine. You'll have to scoop a matchup here or there.
Yeah.
Outside of just like big dumb Heatran kills one of them or whatever. Or you just happen to Gust Hotburn a Snom on turn 1, which I've done, and it's quite good.
Yeah.
Snom having 50 hit points is embarrassing, by the way. It's so sad.
Blounds feels kind of weird. You can pretty consistently take a KO every turn, but because you're a 2 prize that actually takes more than 1 turn to set up, it feels like they actually have time to be able to not play Flint. Now they can't and still win.
Do you think Torkoal Welder Box is more effective than this Blound Crystal Welder Box that we're thinking? What do you think?
I think I would want to try Blound Crystal Welder Box first, because I think it's like we saw Tord say the other day, this format ends on turn 4 almost always, and Torkoal is saying, I don't want the game to end on turn 4. It feels like there actually isn't a way for Torkoal to end the game on turn 4, which means if anything goes wrong, you lose. Whereas it feels like Blound Welder Box, you can end on turn 4 because you just do crazy dumb damage. Whereas, like, you can definitely slow the game down. You probably still can end some games on turn 4 with Torkoal, sure. But
the thing is, if he's up against the 1 attachment decks, Steam Crash basically is a KO, right? You haven't actually taken the prize cards, but threat wise, you've actually you're just saying that like that's effectively mine for the taking in a turn. You'll attach to the bench somewhere and pass into me if you're Eternatus. And then if I can like Steam Crash something else.
The thing that concerns me is it just feels like, Legend Gamer, thank you for the follow, it feels like Steam Crash is great on the thing in the active, but then if they're like, right, okay, I'll just attach to the bench. One, it feels like you can't really punish anything by taking that knockout. It feels like you might just be capped at doing another 120, and it's like, well, that's kind of wasted damage because I still have to take this knockout at some point. Plus 2, if you want to Steam Crash again, in general you'll have to boss, which means you can't weld it to something.
Yeah, this is why I think Ninetales would make so much sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Ninetales makes so much sense in that list because I want to be tagging everything they're attaching to.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a better approach, but like you said, it'll be tight and it'll be ugly. But if you can somehow shimmy Ninetales like to Crystal or something.
Welder Boxes right now are currently playing like, well, Firelist, I should say. Center Scorch right now is currently playing like 4 Welder, 2 Intelli, 2 Boss, and then some kind of recovery. So you gain space by not having to play the boss, but then you're just playing the the full Welder dot deck, which has consistency to it. So I don't know. It's something that I need to test. After watching yesterday, it's without a doubt the deck that stuck out to me the most that has potential that hasn't been unlocked yet or hasn't been.
I've definitely had it in the back of my mind, like since I sat down and looked at the post-rotation meta, and I knew that there'd be a lot of 1 attachment per turn decks, but I need to see that Senti matchup. It feels like you are reliant on capes and fire energies, which is fine, but it feels a bit dodge when you're also trying to welder every turn. Like, how many capes and things was he playing? Like 2 of each? Or was he playing more?
I can't remember.
I feel like he can't really play more than 2 of each, and you need to basically have them both down, right, to stay out of Zacian range and probably be safe against Senti.
Yeah, well, you need 1 of each. Yeah, you need 1 of each to be able to not just die to a Zacian.
Yeah, not the fire is like a problem, but
no, even so.
Just saying, because you want to Steam Crash on the GX turn against ADP, or at the very least Gust kill the Zacian and keep racing.
Yeah, it does feel like it has options against that deck, but at the same time, like the weird thing about it is that if ADP, like in the ADP mirror, you don't want to bench 2 prizes anyway. So basically, if you don't Steam Crash, if you Gust kill the Zacian, and they just have like the Dene ADP active, the kind of onus is back on you to find a way to deal with the ADP one way or another. So if they're able to gust in that turn, you can't. They're going to take 3 prizes. You're going to either have to basically find a way to deal with the ADP, which is almost exclusively going to be Heatran GX. That's the only thing that can actually deal 300 in the deck. And then they've been able to set up a Zacian with the ADP to just kill the Heatran. So it feels like they can potentially still just win based off of
Yeah. I'm not saying that you just insta win because you're red. I'm not saying.
Oh no. I mean, we've seen from the fact that Senti is not particularly a bad matchup for ADP that it's not that at all. But it feels like you have probably more win conditions than some of these other fire decks, but the win percentage of all of these win conditions might be so much lower because you're doing so much that it actually just doesn't help.
Yeah. Whereas Blown is just sticking to the usual plan of.
Well, I feel like Blown is a deck that can win on turn 4 because you go Heatran into Blown, and
that's a really good strategy as well because the Heatran.
I mean, the Pokemon line sounds so nice. It's like 4 Volk, 2 Heatran, 2 Blown, a Cram probably.
Yeah.
And then just Jirachi engine and a couple of the Denes.
Yeah.
And that sounds so clean. You can run like heavy fire energy like Blowns are at the moment. You still have a pretty large amount of space for stuff like Great Balls, Gears, any of that kind of stuff that you want to play. It actually feels so clean.
Yeah. And the Welder box has a lot of maneuverability because you've got Steaming Stomp, you've got what's it called? The Volcanian's attack. High Heat Blast. Is it that one? Yeah. You've got a lot of wiggle room to do stuff. So he was playing turbo patches in his Torkoal. Wow. Okay. That sounds like space to me. But so everything else in meme looks meme, right? There's no reason to play any of these decks.
Nope.
Well, that was good. Good discussion, I think. Is there anything that's not on this tier list chat that you think we should be discussing that's left untouched right now? Or you want us to at least... You want to raise a topic that we can say is a meme deck and we'll all move on? Just so you can have your say. What do we reckon?
Moth. Laura says Moth. Moth is part of Inteleon. Inteleon Frostmoth is actually a real deck, Laura. You're allowed to play Frostmoth and win games these days. It's crazy.
What about Mewtwo Moth? Would you place it lower than Welder? Or like around?
It feels less consistent. Probably...
I think it's more consistent than Inteleon, but a weaker win condition.
I think it's more consistent. I guess it's a basic, not stage 1. That makes sense.
And you can play the game without putting Moth down on turn 2.
Yeah. I don't know. Welder Mewtwo has really impressed me over the past couple of days.
Will I make a Mew 3 video? Great news. I've already recorded one today that's talking about both Welder and Frosties. So you'll see my current lists for both of those tomorrow. So that's fine. And by tomorrow, I of course mean Wednesday, because this will probably go up tomorrow, being Tuesday. If you could follow that. Jeez. Hello, YouTube.
Tom, what is Aeropod? What's Aeropod? Greedy dolls.
Delicious.
4 times a weakness, Uxie. We don't have time to get all of those Pokemon down before we've lost the game, unfortunately, Jam Talk. Welder Cramorant, 4 Cram, 4 Zigzagoon, 4 Jirachi. KO free to Denes.
I guess you don't need to play boss if you play quad Cram. You can beat catch into the good hands. Maybe it's broken. Maybe you can just ignore Eternatus for 3 attacks because you get to attack first.
You get to kill 3 Crobats.
You're relying on them benching a Crobat every turn.
It's a Welder deck that auto wins Eternatus until they only bench 2 Crobats. Then you're sad. Aerodactyl and Golisopod. Is that... Oh, I saw this the other day. This is the No GX Aerodactyl with Golisopod as your other twin energy attacker. Both of those cards are terrible.
Yes.
Unfortunately, both of those cards give up 2 prizes, which most people forget. Actually, no one forgets at the moment, but
both of those cards don't kill ADP on 2. That's the biggest problem with those cards.
Sizzle VMAX. Is the meme tier in order? I hope it is.
I mean, does it matter?
Well, Sizzle's at the top, so yes.
We're telling you, definitely don't play any of them. You're right, we should put the 5-week stuff towards the bottom.
How dare you?
We'll put Sizzle behind Copperaja. We'll put the fire deck closer to the top, because it's a fire deck. Pikarom actually works, so that can go there.
Water deck higher, because it beats the fire stone.
Water deck higher, yes. Tots higher than Pikarom.
Both of those beat Lapras, so we should just make a tier list within the meme tier.
No.
Very sad indeed. 180 for stage 1 ain't too great, which is sad. I mean, like 180 for stage 1 would normally be fine if it weren't for it giving up 2 prizes. If it actually was a 1 prize Pokemon, I think that would actually be fine. But everything gives up more than 1 prize at the moment, which is an issue for almost every single deck, we're realizing.
Alright. Well, this seems fine. I think this is a reasonable tier list.
Reasonable tier list. I think that's a fairly good time to wrap things up as well. We had some boring games. We had some auto wins that we lost. We had some discussion about how we've broken the meta again, as per usual.
We've once again told you to play the 2 best decks.
Yeah, and if you don't want to, just shove a Blown... I mean, we gave you like 40 cards of the Blown Heatran deck, so you could probably figure out the rest.
And that'll probably be coming at some point this week, because it's the only thing that me and Jack actually mildly care about that we haven't looked at yet.
Correct.
And Luke Metal, which we mildly care about and haven't profiled yet.
Yeah.
So you'll be seeing some of these sorts of tier decks soon. I'm still tearing my hair out on Vikavolt. I like can't spend more than an hour on it at a time, because I have to just be like, back to the drawing board, like every time I play the deck.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't win enough.
The Island Challenge Amulet for VMAXs makes everything KO'd-ization for 3 prizes. Busted.
Aspect to the follow.
Blaziken with
Blazy Blounds? Jeez. Blaziken doesn't even kill Eternatus.
What have they done to this game, Joe?
They gave something 340 hit points on a stage 1 that hits 270 with extra damage buff.
Oh yeah. Why?
Because they also created this other card that lets you take an additional prize card every time something gets KO'd.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to know why?
Yeah, go on.
Because they made a supporter that lets you attach 2 additional cards with upside.
What? Do you know why that one was?
To sell product.
No, because they made a stadium that meant you didn't have to attach an energy to your lightning types, so that you could attack. Oh, along with a stage and a basic Pokemon that let you attach an energy, so you could get 3 energy on turn 1 and accelerate 3 energy.
Yeah, and why did they do that? Because they made a card that lets you discard 1 and draw 2. And it's all full circle. Christ.
So, all we've worked out tonight is Zoroark is the problem. It's Zoroark's fault.
It's the start of power creep.
Do you remember Decidueye IGX?
Oh, bless him.
Do you remember that card?
He was good for a bit. Then I kept playing it.
And then kept playing it.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Power creep is unreal.
Imagine having 100 more
happening for
HP.
years. So
Imagine having 100 more HP and giving up. Having 100 more HP, doing 150 more damage for 1 energy less, and being 1 stage lower. All in the span of 3 years.
Yeah.
What a somber note. Right.
We basically need to go back to base set, I think, and try again.
I would actually love it'll never happen, but I actually just love a reset. I would love them just be like, right, all this money you've spent on cards, throw them in the bin. We're reprinting base set.
You'll thank us in 3 years.
Oh, I'd thank them now. Right. On that somber note.
That's a great way to end, I think.
Probably be back on
See you
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
If we can possibly bear to play Pokemon anymore. Maybe we'll play, I don't know, Magic. I always wanted to try Magic. That sounds terrible. We'll be back with Pokemon on Wednesday, probably.
Yeah, probably some Pokemon.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. And Evolutions 2. Whoa, let's not go that
It's
far.
25th anniversary next year, so... Oh, sorry, this year. This year?
No, next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
So there'll probably be some sort of celebratory set.
What's
I want Neo era evolutions. That's my want list.
That'd be cool. What's Wailord V's HP? 280. Just the 280.
Just the 280 there.
Can actually one-shot Eternatus VMAX, interestingly. So maybe that's the saviour. I don't know. We'll break Wailord on Wednesday. For now, we're off. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye.